Sports entertainment is dead, and we need to talk about it. I don't know when this video is going to go up, but I do know that what I just witnessed tonight will go down as one of the best moments in professional wrestling history. 1000%. Cody Rhodes defeated Roman Reigns in what I would say is my now favorite match of all time. And it's crazy. I've seen a lot of great matches, and I enjoy this overbooked stuff, okay? Maybe that's not for you, and that's completely fine. You're not supposed to like the same things as me. You are supposed to be your own individual self. But for me, I truly enjoyed this. Then something happened at the end of the match where I kept thinking, I'm like, wow, that was just way too cool. And it was the moment that Michael Cole said pro wrestling is back. And that right there was a big middle finger to Vince McMahon. Because here's the reality. Sports entertainment is dead. And pro wrestling is back. That's the reality. Vince McMahon's officially gone. His shares are being bought out. Stephanie McMahon is back in the company. Triple H is running the show with Nick Khan. TKO and Ari Emanuel, they have a system in place. They have an idea. They have their pulse on absolutely everything that is cool. WWE is about to become very mainstream again. And the thing is, it's not about the terminology, but WWE is moving away from the sports entertainment terminology. Why? I think it's important for people to know that this has nothing to do with the word sports entertainment. It has more to do with a signal to let everybody else know. It's a sign to everybody to let them know we are done with the Vince McMahon era. The era that had inconsistent booking. Vince was very, very inconsistent. And I know for a very younger audience, they might not understand this. And trust me, I'm still relatively young too. But there was a time period in which Vince McMahon was actually a pretty damn good booker. Vince McMahon was a pretty big genius when it came to professional wrestling. He didn't get successful just out of like laziness. I mean, he put in the work. Let's call it what it is. The problem with Vince is that Vince was so old and out of touch and kept doing professional wrestling the way he thought he should have, instead of listening to people around him. Vince truly put himself as like a godlike figure in his story. And I think when you have that mentality, you are a failure. And I think what we saw at WrestleMania was WWE saying, listen, we're done with the bad booking. We're done with the inconsistent booking. We're done with it all. We're here for good morale. We're here to give fans what they want. We're here to make professional wrestling fun again. We're here to tell great stories. We're here to do all of these different things. Now, if you enjoy pro wrestling the way that WWE produces pro wrestling, that's fantastic. And if you don't, that's completely fine. The reality is, it's not going to change whether they say sports entertainment or pro wrestling. Let's just get that out of the way. It's just the fact that WWE is now at a stage where they're basically saying, look, we have a different vision for what this could be, and we're moving away from that. And the credit has to be given to Nick Khan. Now, I haven't even talked about the Vince McMahon allegations. They're horrendous. They're disgusting. And I've said this in my other videos. They're allegations. The legal system will figure it out. There's lawsuits and all that stuff in place. They will figure it out. And anybody involved with that has to go. But when I think of Vince McMahon, and I think of just how dumb he is, it doesn't matter if the allegations were there or not. Vince McMahon shouldn't be in WWE. Then the allegations come out, and that's where things obviously, TKO doesn't want to be involved. Nobody wants to be associated with him. Stephanie McMahon steps away from the company. Why does Stephanie McMahon step away from the company when she does? Probably because Vince McMahon wasn't fun to work for. Yet, you go on social media, you hear these interviews, and talent all of a sudden love working for WWE again. It's just a fascinating thing to see. And the reality is, WWE has to move forward. They have to move beyond what Vince McMahon has done. At the end of the day, that is important. It's very important that they move on. This is the best time for a new era. Cody Rhodes winning the WWE Championship. Bro, I don't think people understand that what we are witnessing is truly the most groundbreaking moment in the industry. And I guess maybe for me, it's a little bit different than others, right? From other fans. I have the blessing and the honor of being able to talk about this stuff for a living, just sharing my opinions, talking about wrestling and reviewing it. And the fact that it is my job, and I'm very transparent about this. There has been times, 2021, I made a video why WWE isn't as good anymore. And those videos are true to every word. Vince didn't produce good wrestling at all, in my opinion. He had some good stuff here and there, but he didn't care about professional wrestling. People would wrestle for 2 minutes, DQ, do it back next week. Vince didn't care. And then I'm watching Raw and SmackDown and NXT these days, and I'm like, wow, this company just gets it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. There's something very special happening. And I remember suffering those years and questioning whether or not I would be able to do this long term. Just being honest. Hey, do I have a chance of talking about wrestling for a long time? Can I truly build a business around this? And it was a big gamble because Vince McMahon sure as hell didn't make it easy, and let's just call it what it is. I cover everything, AEW and TNA and all this other stuff, but it's imperative that the number one company is truly a number one company, and they set a good example. And for me, I don't know if I had the confidence. I always kind of wondered, what would it be like without Vince? And I saw that main event with Cody and Roman, and I just felt like we are entering the greatest era in professional wrestling history. There's going to be people who disagree with me. That's cool. I don't care. I don't need you to agree with me. The reality is that that's how I feel. And I watched the Attitude Era. I thought WWF sucked, to be honest. I thought WCW was better. Just a couple of years ago, I thought AEW was better. But what I saw in these last 2 nights of WrestleMania, I think WWE is setting the bar extremely high. And truth be told, I think sports entertainment dying is going to be the greatest thing for this industry. Let me explain. Wrestling conversation on social media has become incredibly disingenuous. It's actually become to the point where I think most takes on social media are fake. I don't think they're genuine. I don't think people are being authentic with these takes. I think that's the first problem. The second problem is that I think people are so wrapped up in this tribalism. Oh, WWE said this about AEW. AEW said this about WWE. Not realizing that the greatest thing that could happen in this industry is 2 companies who want to battle each other. WWE is not going to kill AEW. AEW will not kill WWE. If anything, they will kill themselves by making dumb mistakes. But I feel like wrestling conversations and opinions have become incredibly disingenuous. I don't think people know how to have civil conversations about wrestling. And for me, as a wrestling fan, as a content creator, I often hear about what is bias. Oh, you're biased. And I think I'm addressing this in this video because I really want it to be clear. I like WWE for different reasons than I like AEW. I have to learn that AEW is just not going to be anything like WWE, and they shouldn't be. My issue with AEW was they were always losing their vision of what they could be and what they were. And then now you start seeing 2024, it's coming back to that original vision. And I'm like, oh, I love it. I don't need AEW to be the melodramatic storytelling. WWE does that very well. AEW can't beat WWE in that department. I don't need them to beat them in that department. I need them to keep doing what they're doing. If WWE puts on great matches, cool. But if they're good matches with great stories, better. I don't want to see WWE lacking in that department. Why? Because that's what I go to WWE for. At the end of the day, my point that I'm trying to make is that I feel like with wrestling right now, people cannot have these conversations. Whatever your opinion is, for some reason, it has to be the most extreme opinion. And I feel like in today's climate, the reality is, I'm not with that. I'm not. There's a lot of publications out there who I think are very clearly biased towards a company. If you're a publication and you're biased towards a company, I think you look silly. But a content creator cannot be biased. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a reporter. I don't do media scrums. I talk about the topics I want to talk about. For crying out loud, I was talking about the Vince McMahon allegations on my channel. Those conversations need to be handled maturely. But we'll talk about it. We need to move on as an industry where pro wrestling fans could just genuinely be happy for pro wrestling. It's very weird. So many people would tell me, oh, you talk about pro wrestling for a living? Like, what the hell? Like, they think of it as like a weird thing, you know? But it's no different than talking about the NFL or the NBA or being a movie critic or whatever. But you say pro wrestling and it has this weird societal thing. And for me, I want that to be changed. I want more people to enter the fandom of pro wrestling. But when you got people arguing about sports entertainment versus pro wrestling, bruh, shut the hell up. It doesn't matter if WWE calls it sports entertainment or pro wrestling. And even that, WWE is saying, look, sports entertainment is dead. Vince McMahon's ideas are dead. You know, I'm starting to realize WWE probably took a lot of shots at AEW this weekend to simply remind everybody that pro wrestling is theirs. And I think that's actually a good thing because it should make AEW want to be better and be greater. So whatever we call it, if we call it sports entertainment or pro wrestling, just understand it doesn't matter. The best wrestling is the one that you enjoy. And if you get offended that somebody doesn't enjoy what you enjoy, that's the problem.